Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. Well, a true Karen in her form. Mayor of LA, Karen Bass, promised before being elected not to go abroad. Then it was caught in Ghana, and Ghana is a country in Africa. So she was definitely far away from LA when these fires erupted. Okay, so Karen Bass, mayor of LA, is under intense scrutiny after being in Ghana during the city's worst wildfires in its history, which have claimed 24 lives and destroyed numerous properties before her election. Bass pledged to avoid international travel, but has since made multiple trips abroad, including to Mexico. I really don't count Mexico, but nonetheless, and France. Her absence during this crisis had led to public outrage, with critics accusing her of neglecting her duties and underfunding the fire department, further complicating firefighting efforts despite her return and assurances to the public. Many questions her leadership and commitment to the city's safety. No, it's not really that, because when the fires broke out, she wasn't there. Even though she promised not to do international travel, okay, she was still in North America when she was in Mexico, but she went all the way to Europe and France. She went to Africa. She's living her best life. And this doesn't really look good. I believe she's LA's first black mayor, or she's LA's first black female mayor. But nonetheless, she's done everything for people in LA other than those citizens who need her the most. Because don't forget, I think majority of the homeless rate is in California, let alone LA. If you guys ever been to LA, there's a lot of homeless all around the place. There's people with all sorts of problems. But Karen Bass, she's taking her position and all her privileges, and she's traveling her butt off. Good job, Karen. It doesn't the name fit a older lady? In this case, a change of face. She's black. But nonetheless, I have no love for her. She has done nothing for the black community there in LA. She has done nothing for the homeless community there. And she wasn't there to help with the administration part when it comes to these LA wildfires of all these people, rich and poor alike, losing their homes. God damn it. You know what? This reminds me no other than Ted Cruz. You guys remember Ted Cruz during the snowstorm in Texas, also during COVID in 2021. He was facing backlash because he took a trip to Cancun during a severe winter storm that left millions, even myself, without power and clean water. Now, we had clean water, but we really don't drink the water in Texas. So nonetheless, we had water, but we did not have power for about 4 days. And that resulted in nearly 250 deaths. So I don't know which one is worse. Now, the mayor is more directly local. Don't forget Senator Ted Cruz on a federal level, but he shouldn't have went anyway, because there's things that senators can do. They can move mountains when it comes to federal legislation and help get support for Texas with a lot of these winter storms and get additional help from other states that are adjacent to Texas. Again, he left too. And Cruz admitted that the trip was a mistake, stating in hindsight, I had a really good time in Cancun. No, he didn't say that. He stated, I wouldn't have done it. But you did do it. Despite expressing regret, public resentment lingers, with critics questioning his judgment and commitment to his constituents during emergencies. Yeah, a lot of these politicians, they just do whatever the hell they want to do. They supposed to be these public servants that it seems as though they're more self-serving than anything else. And it really has nothing to do with any demographic, Hispanic, white, black, Asian, or otherwise. A lot of these politicians, they're just in their own head like, I'm cream of the crop, I'm king at the top, I can do whatever the hell I want. That is what they do. That is what they do. This is nothing new. And to go a step further, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has announced the company will dismantle its diversity, equity, inclusion programs. Good, because I don't know what DEI has did for any group of people, let alone black folk, because people keep saying that this was for black people. No, it's not. It didn't help black people. If anything helped black people, let's just say EEO, equal opportunity, has helped black folk. Let's just say that, because DEI did nothing. Because DEI was essentially to help engagement in relations between different sorts of people. DEI was a do-nothing program, okay? The same way as affirmative action, because the vast majority of Americans who are white believe that DEI and affirmative action help black folk. No, it helped majority of Hispanics and Asians. Just look at your job dynamics, okay? Outside of certain jobs like healthcare. But if you look at these other people, look at the people that essentially work around you and those who are intelligent and less intelligent than others. So again, a lot of these programs look good on the surface, but really, really didn't have any substance of actual change of what the programs seem to be changing all along. Now, signaling a move towards less restrictive content moderation. Don't forget, Meta has went from fact checking to community notes like X, also known as Twitter. But this decision comes amid political pressures and aims to restore Meta's original focus on free expression. Don't forget the $1 million donated to Donald Trump's inauguration fund. Don't forget the buddy handshaking and hugs that he now has with Elon Musk. So again, he's just kind of going with the flow of things. He doesn't want Meta to be sued or a lot of his companies to be demolished by the MAGA or by Republicans and conservatives altogether. And he's just playing a good boy. He's playing his role, and he wants to continue to be a billionaire and one of the richest men on earth. I get it. You do what you got to do to feed your family on a yacht in space, because that's how rich he is. The rollback of DEI initiatives has sparked a lot of debate, while supporters praising the emphasis on free speech, while critics warned it could decrease online safety and inclusion. No. DEI did nothing. DEI was just a good to do nothing program that sounded good on the surface, which a lot of Americans absolutely believe that it did something, because anytime they feel as though somebody was unqualified, mostly black, anytime they feel that somebody didn't have the skills, training, or no license, mostly black, they would say that that person is a DEI hire, basically using that as a euphemism of calling someone low-key the N-word. Now, again, I heard Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman was on a news broadcast years ago, and the newscaster was stating, how do we get rid of racism and discrimination? And Morgan Freeman said, stop talking about it. If you ever got into a fight and someone was throwing punches and you didn't throw punches back, did he just leave and stop throwing punches? He like, if you just don't fight, then there will be no fight. No, you just get your butt whooped. That's what that's about. If you ever been shot at and you've been shot, if you didn't worry about the bullet wound, would the bullet wound go away? Yeah, I'm making these very egregious, outlandish examples because some people think if you stop thinking about racism, discrimination, bigotry, bias, and white supremacy, that it will go away. No, it will not go away. People are going to think what they're going to think about a certain group or a certain set of people or actions and behaviors or the stigma and stereotypes of certain people. That will not change. So racism will not go change simply because you stop talking about it. The only thing it will happen is that it will be more covert than it is overt. And that's what some people probably want. But that is not the country that we live in. It's right front and center inside of your face. That leads me to Special Counsel Jack Smith report, because it concludes that former President Donald Trump engaged in an unprecedented criminal effort to overturn the 2020 election results. Smith asserts there was sufficient evidence to convict Trump. However, his 2024 election victory has made prosecution impossible. I've never seen a sitting president, a prior president, ever go to jail, and I think I'll never see it in my lifetime. But as the U.S. Constitution prevents the prosecution of a sitting president, the report details Trump's alleged attacks and attempts to obstruct the certification of votes and incite the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack, Capitol insurrection, Capitol rioters, and Capitol protesters. Trump has dismissed the report as a political motivated attack. And I don't know if you guys can see this graphic here, but it says Donald Trump did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with co-conspirators known and unknown to the grand jury to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate one or more persons in the free exercise and enjoyment of a right and privilege secured to them by the Constitution and laws of the United States. This is the right to vote. and have the one's vote counted. Now, I don't know how true those claims are to be because, as I stated many, many times before, during the pre-rally of them protesting down to the Capitol, Donald Trump told them to have a peaceful protest, not a peaceful rioter, not a peaceful attack, not a peaceful insurrection, but a peaceful protest. So on those verbal words that I've heard him state, I cannot conclude that his findings are 100% absolute. And I'm not taking the side of Donald Trump. You guys know me. I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm not center. I'm just giving you guys the truth. And I think majority of Americans, regardless if you like it or not, you will want the truth instead of someone leaning so far right to your belief system that it never really exercises or stretch your imagination or your thought process or challenge what you already think that you know and give you a different perspective. I would like to believe that you would like to hear a different perspective that stretches the way that you think, not to change it, but to at least invite and have these different, very contradictory, opinionated opinions about what you think already. Now, hopefully I didn't lose you guys here, but nonetheless, I'm getting to a point here because, again, the truth is the truth and the lies are the lies. And again, we have been receiving them from both sides. Now, in this case, a lot of these has been from the Democrats. Don't forget that the Democrats are the party of the KKK. And then some black folk would like to believe, I'm talking to you black folk, yep, talking to you, like to believe that the Republicans are the party of the KKK because of some of the vitriol, benign neglect, and some of the things that has been happening under their reign and jurisdictions altogether. But nonetheless, it was the Dixiecrats, also known the party of the KKK out of Tennessee. But again, Donald Trump, from what I have seen and heard from him, did not incite an insurrection or a Capitol attack. He told them a peaceful protest, okay? That the voting was not as accurate as what reports deemed it was. So again, that's a lot being said there. So again, as more information comes out, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to Black Logic and hit that thumbs up button. I thank you all for joining me here this morning. And again, DOJ releases former special counsel Jack Smith's report on investigation into Trump's election interference case. And again, we're going to be watching this very closely to give you guys the updates. Good old Joe Biden, as I stated before, he's doing a lot before he gets out of office. The U.S. Department of Education has canceled student loans for more than 5 million Americans. I know a lot of you are clapping your hands and stumping your feet because either yourself or your loved ones have gotten a lot of your debt relief. Even my wife, she's got a portion of her debt relief, and she was smiling this, that, and the other. And I said, well, babe, I don't agree. She said, huh? I said, well, I'm glad that your debt, some of your debt has been relieved. But what about those people who've already paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for their education and knowingly signed contracts and pieces of paper dealing with their higher education of the amount of money that they were going to pay back, the loans that they took out? Would it be Sallie Mae, Fannie Mae, personal loans, all these FAFSA, all these different sorts of federal loans and personal loans that people take out for education? What about those folk who pay back their money? Shouldn't they get a rebate? Shouldn't they get a partial refund? But no, they've already paid their money. If anything, I would want Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, whoever has the power, J.D. Vance, I don't care, to make federal laws that lowers the tuition prices of private and public colleges altogether. Put a cap, the same way you did insulin at $35. And I'm not saying education is going to be $35, but it's more than that. But a lot of these colleges, their ROI, when you come inside the door of your tuition, I know a buddy who went to Penn State. I said, how much? We worked at Amazon together. I said, how much do you have to pay back on your student loans? He said, I have to pay back $85,000. I was like, oh my God. And I said, what am I saying? Was that for the whole 4 years? He said, no. I have $85,000 left. Well, how much did you totally have to pay? $150,000? He said, yes. I said, wow. And we're managers at Amazon, and we're rolling around the warehouse, pushing numbers and crunching numbers and getting productivity. That's why your packages get there on time. This was a while ago. I'm no longer there, but nonetheless, he said, yeah, I give 40 to 50% to pay off my student loan. He has a roommate. So again, I won't say necessarily he's struggling, but he's trying to pay off his student loans. I'm pretty sure he's gotten a lot further. Hopefully someone that I seen take a large portion of their paycheck trying to pay off their student loans. But again, I just kind of think about this and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't have student loans. I got a scholarship for football. So, Then I joined the military. That even helped out even better. But I served my country. And here's another thing. That's why if you don't want to pay student loans, if you don't have the money to cover it with your parents or your bank account, join the military. Join a Peace Corps. Join the Coast Guard. Serve your country. How about that? That's a good way about it. Now, this historic achievement includes forgiveness for borrowers defrauded by colleges and public service employees under expanded eligibility criteria. Despite the collapse of broader forgiveness plans, the administration continues to pursue targeted relief efforts. But Republicans' opposition argues that such cancellations unfairly burden taxpayers, and the incoming administrations may seek to reverse these changes. And this is correct. I do agree. It does put a burden on taxpayers. Again, people who paid their student loans back, people who never had student loans, you're still paying the country with your federal taxes to alleviate this debt. Here's another thing. It states that, and I was reading this one news story stating that these colleges, defrauded the borrowers. Then go after the colleges. Do a deep dive investigation of those who attended, those who have great, college debt, and for those colleges to alleviate, to decrease, to pay back the debt that they frauded those college students at the time. But no, we're just slapping a pin on. We keep throwing money at everything instead of doing the hard thing. Do the hard thing. It's okay. If you believe that the colleges were defrauding borrowers, then do the right thing. Do an investigation and have those colleges pay fines and pay back those people who overpaid for their college tuitions. I guess that's just my conjecture. That's my thought process behind it. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed a lawsuit against Allstate. Thank you. Finally, states are doing what they should have been doing for a very, very long time when it comes to these insurance agencies. Because when these insurance agencies do not make their quota, when they don't appease their stakeholders, they do all sorts of fraudulent, sneaky things that you will probably never know unless you have states who have the reach and the intel, that's the intelligence, and the power to investigate a lot of these insurance companies that be doing these things on the low. Now, Allstate allegedly that the insurer, and this is what Texas is getting at, Texas is stating that Allstate collected driver data via cell phones without consent to adjust insurance premiums and deny coverage. Can I say that again? Allstate, by the way of Texas. Now, Texas is stating that Allstate collected driver data via cell phones without consent to adjust, insurance premiums and deny coverage. Now, this complaint claims Allstate's tracking software gathered data from over 45 million Americans and sold it to other insurers. The state seeks restitution, damages, civil fines, and the destruction of the alleged obtained data, citing violation of Texas data privacy and insurance laws. Allstate in trouble. Allstate in trouble. Texas broke the bank on this one because other states are going to be coming after Allstate. And let me tell you something, Allstate is going to be owned by all states. Is it not ironic? Allstate is going to be owned by all states when they get done with these lawsuits. Because everybody's 45 million Americans? Are you serious? Now there's 33 million Americans. Was it 1.8? I don't know the actual math off the top of my head. That's kind of a big number for me right now, early this morning, drinking this water, not coffee. But nonetheless, I'm just thinking about this because what other insurance companies are doing this? What checkbox when you downloaded the Allstate app did you click to allow them to do this? Or they hid this in the data privacy, and because no one reads the fine print. Let's just keep it real. You have all these things to read, and it's like, oh, okay, privacy. Yeah, I'm just going to click it. But they're getting sued, as they should, And I have nothing personally against any insurance company. I just know that they're the richest companies in America, and it's like something that Dave Chappelle said. You pay your insurance each, and I think this, I'm sorry. I think this was Chris Rock. It was Chris Rock. And I'm paraphrasing. He stated that you pay this insurance each and every month, but they never pay you back the money that you've paid. So you insuring me, and at the end of the year, I don't get a rebate. I don't get money back. I don't get a credit, right? You have all these different functions that, okay, well, I have a different driver on my car. Okay, we're going to take off 33%. You're partnering with one of our bank partners, or you're with an insurance company that has its own bank and has its own this, and you are in this ecosystem, and they deduct all of these things because you're doing majority of your business with that insurance company, and that's a good thing. And now we're starting to find out. I told you, ever since last year, the transparency and the truth is revealing itself, and I know all of us are happy with that. Canada. Oh, Canada. In response to President-elect Donald Trump's threats to impose tariffs on Canadian goods, Canada ambassador to the U.S., Kirsten Hillman, stated that Canada is willing to increase purchases from the U.S. And this is what Donald Trump was stating. I hate to say, God darn it, he was right. He was right. Whatever tactics and strategies he's using, he's right. As I told you before, I didn't want to make enemies of our neighbors north of the border here with Canada, but we have been given an unfair deal with Canada, giving them $200 billion, taking all the exports with milk and cars and eggs and whoever knows what else. And the ambassador to the U.S., a Canadian, Kirsten Hillman, stated that Canada is willing to increase purchases from the U.S. because we understand that we need your $200 billion. I mean, we should be mutual partners in trade and business. Now, also, in some of these dealings and the ambassador, including military procurements like F-35 fighter jets, Hillman emphasized that imposing tariffs would harm American consumers and warned of potential retaliatory measures. She also heightened the importance of U.S.-Canada corporations in countering global challenges and supporting economic growth. Have you noticed that every politician, no matter what country, always try to save face? First, she comes out and state that we're going to increase the purchase from the U.S. We're going to include some F-35 fighter jets. But secondly, this will harm Americans, the American consumer. Then test it out then. Don't increase your purchases with the U.S. Don't buy any of our fighter jets for your security. Don't do any of that. Let's see if it really harms American consumers more than it harms Canadian consumers. We can pay tough. Now, we the big dogs. Now, you guys have all this land in Canada, and Canada is a nice country. I've been there plenty of times. It's very beautiful, but a lot of their land people don't live on, okay? Just like Russia. A lot of these countries where they're up north is so darn cold you can't grow anything. So a lot of people don't live near those places because it's very, very cold. So again, don't ever try to give us, where you're kind of bending the knee, but you're still trying to stand up. It's okay to bend the knee and take a bow. Donald Trump force your hand and you say, you know what? He has a point. We looked at a lot of the trade, we looked at a lot of the business deals, and he's right. And when one European power falls to America's grace, yeah, I'm pro-America. I know a lot of you like, damn, he sounds like a... No, I'm pro-America. Because again, I've been saying this for a very, very long time, that America has been footing the bill of a lot of other countries. So Canada has bended the knee, and guess who's following? Greenland. Because Greenland Prime Minister Moot said he has rejected President-elect Donald Trump's proposal for the U.S. to take ownership of Greenland, asserting that the territory is now for sale. However, he has expressed openness to strengthening ties with the U.S. in areas such as security. Oh, what happened you guys getting security from Denmark? What happened to you guys getting security from Denmark? Well, we've been trying to talk with Denmark for a very long time. We've seen some Russian submarines come through our waters. We had no defense system, so we just had to let them pass. I mean, again, there's nothing we can do. We don't have torpedoes. We don't have battleships. We don't have anything because Denmark hasn't been doing what they said they won't do. So we're looking for the U.S. now, opening these new, negotiations, and we're looking for you guys such as security and natural resource exploitation. Again, he's open to it. Wow. Look at these tough talks that Donald Trump has started, and people are starting to bend the knee. Look at this face. Man, that looks like someone who's really deep in thought and someone who's defeated at the same time. I'm not feeling bad for him. I'm not feeling bad for him. I'm feeling bad for Denmark, because Denmark should have been stepped in and prevented this. Because he's like, anyone can come in, like Canada or America, who's near Greenland, okay, or even Iceland, in partnership with Greenland and extrapolate some of them resources. But he also, okay, the Prime Minister of Greenland also emphasized Greenland's desire for increased cooperation while maintaining autonomy, especially given the island's strategic location and valuable mineral reserves. What I tell you, they have a lot of resources out there in Greenland, and a lot of countries want these reserves. So they say, yeah, we don't mind you guys helping us with our security. We might buy some jets. We might help you guys, help us build some ports here and there, some anti-submarine technology. Yeah, we'll buy those things, and we will trade your resources of military strategic equipment, and we will give you natural resources, okay? Because Denmark hasn't done these things. I love it. I love it. Last but not least, as wildfires continue to devastate Los Angeles, California, Gavin Newsom is facing criticism for approving a budget that has slashed $100 million in firefighting and fire preventing funding, because critics argue that these cuts have hampered the state's ability to effectively respond to the ongoing crisis, which has resulted in significant loss of property. Newsom administration is under pressure to address these concerns and reassess resource allocation for the disaster preparedness. Now, during the LA wildfires, don't forget that Elon Musk and President-elect Donald Trump have been accused of spreading disinformation, because Trump blamed the fires on Gavin Newsom and his water policies, while Musk claimed that the blazes spread it due to the fire department's focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Elon Musk, I admire some of the technological advances that you have done, but every time you say things of this inflammatory nature, it doubles and triples and quadruple downs and pentagon down and octagon down that you at heart is a racist. And some of the things that your father stated about you seems to be ever so clear. And that's just my conjecture, but I understand how to separate my personal angst against a person and the truth. Okay, so don't take my personal account of the man. If you believe a certain thing about him, I have my things about him. Some of the things he said, some of the things that happened at Tesla, some of the acts here and there. Again, that's just my take on it. Because these statements have been criticized for misleading the public and politicizing this disaster altogether. I wonder what Gavin Newsom has to say regarding some of the things that have been said concerning him.
Natural disaster in the history of the United States?
I think it will be in terms of that I've never met, and it's hand in glove. It's really inspiring.
In your opinion, is this or will it be the worst natural disaster in the history of the United States?
I think it will be in terms of just the costs associated with it, in terms of the scale and scope. I'll only remind the folks in California, the Tubbs fire, 5,600 houses were lost, and of course Camp Fire, we had 18,000 housing units lost, and 85 people that lost their lives. Currently, we're getting confirmation from the coroner, so we always have to be careful on the death toll, but it's in the 13 range, and I've got search and rescue teams out, we've got cadaver dogs out, and there's like...
Fires are tearing through Southern California.
So yeah, fam, that's what I have for you guys today. I thank you all for staying with me as long as we did. Usually I'm around the 20-minute mark, but nonetheless, I think I try to provide some great insight and some bias. I did imply bias in some of the things that I was stating just as a trigger warning, but nonetheless, those are my thoughts. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next one. This is Black Logic.